Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, I didn't like that report. You just heard from Eric Bushman's stellar news report there that Dak Prescott's had to file a lawsuit and what sounds like could be, let's just go ahead and assume innocent until proven guilty here. Sounds like could be extortion. Now, we don't know. I didn't hear anything about this story until today. But immediately you kind of think, you know, what legal mechanisms are in place to keep a guy from being ruined if these are false allegations? Well, you don't just have to ask me. My first guest is going to be able to help us out a little bit with that. Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Welcome back to the James Show. And just, you probably know this kind of stuff off the top of your head. What are the legal mechanisms in place to keep a guy from being ruined by false allegations?
Dak Prescott has brought a defamation suit, and a defamation suit says that you've said things to me, that you've said things out there that are not true, and for that reason I'm damaged. There's a lot of questions here, though, and I've got a lot of questions, candidly, on both sides here. Strategically, a very aggressive move by Dak Prescott and his legal team. And there's very concerning allegations concerning that lawyers would if Dak Prescott's lawsuit is true and these lawyers have done what they have done, then it's a very troubling on that side as well.
Jeremy Rosenthal, what's your response to people who are suspicious about the timing of these allegations? You know, this was what, 7 years ago, supposedly?
Right.
So is there like a statute of limitations on even allegations to something like that?
Okay. Criminally, the statute of limitations is 10 years. Civilly, it's much shorter than that. The statute of limitations in this case for a lawsuit has unquestionably passed, which makes us ask ourselves, well, what are you threatening? You can, in practicing law, you can settle civil liability. And you can write, if there's a car accident, we want parties to settle their claims out of court. If there's a car accident, a lawyer can write a demand letter to the other side. They give it to the insurance carrier. They work it out before a lawsuit. So it's okay to settle liability. Sometimes it gets really close to the criminal line, and that's going to be when you have certain lawsuits. If you get stolen from, you can sue,
right.
But stealing is obviously a crime. Sexual assault is a crime, and you can sue somebody for it. It is not okay to bargain for criminal immunity or we're not going to go to the police. As lawyers, we're not allowed to do that. Because it's extortion, right? It's no different if
she's lying, it's extortion. If he really did do this crime, then it's still kind of extortion, isn't it? Well, then it would technically be blackmail because it happened. I don't know. See, this is why I need to talk to a lawyer. Because the other question I have is, where does that $100 million sum come from? Is there some sort of formula that they plugged it in, or they just do like the Dr. Evil pinky to the side of their mouth and be like, $100 million?
I'm pretty sure it's more like the second thing you just mentioned there. It's a very conspicuously even number, isn't it? But we can't. What we can't do is we're not allowed to say we won't go to the police if you pay us money. That it's no different if a mob boss does that or a lawyer does that. Now, what a lawyer can do is a lawyer can say, we will not sue you in civil court and seek damages for sexual assault. And lawyers need to be very, very clear about that when they're making these demands. And you can't make these demands when you know the lawsuit's frivolous, when you know
right.
The statute of limitations is 3, 4, 5 years in the rearview mirror. Now, where it's troubling is that the criminal statute of limitations, if this all happened in Texas, has not passed. That's 10 years. So the threat of we will go to the police and the letter that was affixed to the lawsuit says criminal, then Dak could be on the hook for criminal liability here. Now, it's very interesting, though, also that Dak has taken the approach that he has. He's charged the cannons in this case. He has basically invited the monster into the room. He has said, well, let's go duke this out in a court of law. Dak could have gone to the police himself and said, hey, I'm being extorted. He could have tried to do that. I don't know how far he would get. But truth is a defense to defamation. So we could actually have a trial about whether or not Dak committed sex assault. So that's a risk that I think his lawyers have obviously evaluated.
Well, I don't have to worry about this because I don't have millions of dollars, but I think big lawsuits like this and stories like this, they just put a big target on the back of guys who happen to be wealthy. And, you know, it's not that I feel sorry for them. It must be nice being wealthy, but it's kind of not fair that they have to go through this. I mean, I've managed to dodge it by being incredibly unsuccessful. But, I mean, is there anything men should do to minimize their exposure to things like this, whether they're wealthy or not?
Well, fortunately, we live in the state of Texas, and I'm going to go back to seventh grade Texas history. Texas was a debtor's colony, and a lot of our laws protect people in debt, right? Stephen F. Austin, those guys went to Tennessee. They went to places, and they said, look, we'll forgive your debt if you come here. The laws still make Texas a very difficult place to collect against everybody that's not Mark Cuban, everybody that's not Ross Perot Jr., everybody that's not Dak Prescott. So it's when you have those type of assets that you can become a target for a lawsuit. So going with your theme, as long as we can remain really, really unsuccessful in this world, then we're what they call judgment proof.
Thank you. Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com.